Welcome to another episode from the Ed to Ed. Last episode, you've been following my channel, I got this strobe up and running, and it was basically a bunch of bits and pieces I had scrapped out of a balancing machine, and it was all laid out on my bench. And what I wanted to do was use the strobe to do some slow motion study of a late 1930s farm radio that has a mechanical vibrator, and the vibrator moves at very high speed, and I wanted to slow that motion down, and it worked pretty well. The potentiometer on this function generator wasn't working right, and I've got that sorted out, so now I can dial in nice fine resolution instead of just going from large scale. So I'm hoping later in this episode to bring out the farm radio again and get another shot of that and see if I can freeze the motion down to literally just like looking at one side of a contact touching or something like that. I don't know if I can get that dialed that nice, but it'd be nice to try it. So I take all the bits and pieces out on the workbench from last episode and package them up into this nice box here. The box is based off of an episode maybe a dozen or two ago of this project here, which I printed and folded for a mechanical calculator project. And basically the only thing that's new in this particular project is just this front panel here. I'll put the thing file on Thingiverse in the description below this video, that you can get this file here, a version that is blank and or with a switch. And you know, I'll throw in the back panel too with all these holes in case you want to use that. There is a blank version for this guy already on this particular thing number, so I'll put the thing file for this and look back. Also, I guess I'll put a link for the particular video that this was on. I go into a lot of detail on how you fold and put these pieces of sheet metal in, all the G code and or hand drill files and so forth, how that's all done, and refer to that the video for this guy for the assembly of this simpler project. And the reason I did this one is simply, you know, this guy obviously is more of a control box, and this is more of a project box, and obviously the control is being done by the function generator, so I obviously didn't need this elaborate, takes a long time to print front bezel face here, when I could just make a simple one. It was just a mirror image of this guy with all the recesses and so forth. So look up the description below for the thing files for the few parts for this guy. Look at the video and the thing files for any parts you might want with this guy, like the blank panel and so forth, if you want to make a project box kind of like this. And so anyhow, so I'll fold this piece of sheet metal up, get that on, and then get out the farm radio and see if I can dial this in a little bit closer and see if I can freeze the motion of that vibrator a little bit further. Okay, so I got my project box cover on. I think it came out pretty good. Nice simple little box in case you want a simple little box. Look up Thingiverse for this, and we'll load up the farm radio here and see how this works, and see if I can dial this guy in a little bit closer to really freeze that motion of that mechanical vibrator. Okay, so here's the star of the show, the 1938 farm radio. Eventually I'll get the Bakelite cover on this guy. I have to admit, I kind of like the thing just with the cover off. It's such a beautiful machine, and its workmanship is really nice, and it's in really good shape. You know, you see a lot of folks restoring radios, and they're just it's amazing how they take something that's just almost beyond hope and make it really nice. And I lucked out on this guy. It's in pretty nice shape. All I had to do is replace the capacitors, and it's, you know, it's one of those things where it was probably purchased just before REA probably came in and electrified probably the local farm, and so this guy probably didn't see as much service life as maybe others might have further afield that maybe didn't have you know, Rural Electrification Association come their way and solve their problem on power on, you know, a remote location. So the guy of interest is this vibrator here, and there's a can that, like I was saying in the previous episode, had to be cut in order to remove it, and there's some mechanical contacts on this guy that are of great interest to me. This thing will vibrate back and forth about 117 times a second, I believe, at least according to this manual on mechanical vibrators, printed in the mid-40s. And this is an earlier machine in the early mid-30s, so it's an earlier version perhaps than what they were talking about. Though I think it's pretty much the same technology. Maybe not as refined as the later ones as they're talking about. So I'll set this guy up to strobe this guy, and we'll see if I can freeze the motion on this guy. So now I have the variable speed control pot on the signal generator working, and I can adjust now the speed in a kind of a variable manner, and not just to deal with the larger graduated steps. So I'm hoping I might be able to dial in the freezing of the motion of the of this farm radio vibrator. I'm kind of obsessing on, but I think it's just fascinating. And then of course I can use this for other projects. Well, it looks like about the best I can do is something like this, where it's a bit stoppy and jumpy. I just can't quite get a better synchronization than this. It's I was hoping it'd be a little more fluid. It's pretty helter-skelter, jumpy, skippy bit here. That seems to be the best I can come up with. I don't know why I can't quite dial this on a little bit better than this. It could be that there's just little jumps in the potentiometer here, and there's little differences in speed actually of the device itself. Maybe the camera. I can't get really more frozen than this. It's so close at times, though. It's almost there. And it could be my trigger circuit still isn't really as smooth and steady as I'd like. I do see on the scope occasionally a little jump there, and I'm not sure why. Probably about the best I'm going to get right there. Just do a little skippier than I'd like. Oh, that's not too bad there. Ooh, dang it. Just keep that. So, anyways, folks, that's it, and thanks for watching.